Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening and welcome back to the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. Continuing live coverage of the 2019 World Able Pool Championships. Up next, team singles finals, the wheelchair final and the senior final. First of all, please welcome into the arena your two referees, Matt Ward and George Bradbury. And the two finalists in the senior event. First up, and his opponent, James Feely. And the two finalists in the wheelchair event. First up, Abubaker. And his opponent, Beaumont.
Very good evening and welcome to the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool for continued live coverage of the 2019 World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Up next, the wheelchair final. Dave Beaumont of England takes on Aslam Abubaker of India. These two well familiar with each other's games. They've contested, I think they were saying, outside the last 4 finals. Two very good players. The referee for this one, George Bradbury, will be racking the balls up in the first frame. We've seen a lot of quality pool already today. We've just watched the 2 men's team semi-finals. Now moving on to the serious business end of the tournament. Live coverage of this wheelchair final and also the men's senior final, which is being played on the other side of the arena at the moment. It's being contested by Videsh Sabharwal and James Feely. And then coming up immediately following the conclusion of these 2 matches tonight will be the ladies team final. So it's Dave Beaumont that's won the lag and will get us underway in frame 1. That's a very solid break to have got things started with. It's exactly how you'd advise somebody to break. Didn't smash the balls too hard, but just got all the power that he needed into the front ball. Balls have split up nicely. It's a yellow that's gone down, and you assume it will be yellows that will be his preference, given that one hanging over the top right hand corner. Pretty good first opportunity this. Always nice to settle yourself down with a relatively straightforward clearance. Not sure how straightforward anything is when you're playing in the World Championship final, but the balls have at least split up quite nicely here. Not too much traffic to negotiate. Oh, that's a little bit unlucky actually. He played a good shot there, a good clean pot, just trying to screw past that yellow. Messed the position up slightly, cannoning into it. Not necessarily insurmountable, but if that ball had stayed over the middle pocket, this would have been a pretty straightforward opportunity, whereas now got a little bit of work to do. So forced into taking on the more difficult pot down the line in the end. First look then at Abubaker. Very high quality cueist. Played 9-ball with Aslam over the years. He's a very good 9-ball player as well. Makes the game look pretty easy, as do all top players when he's playing at his best. The red's quite well placed for a counter clearance now. The only one that you can envisage much difficulty with is the one down the right hand side cushion, which would be an easy enough pot if close to it, but would be more difficult from distance. Well, that couldn't have gone much better. He's landed absolutely perfectly on the red below the black. If you can leave the red on the right hand side cushion until last, it will link up nicely to the black. Although in fact, I'd be pretty happy to take it now, I think, where he's ended up. No, he's going to stick with plan A and go up the table first. Another good pot. He's ended up just a little bit off straight here. If he'd have been straight on this red to the right hand centre, he could have rolled through for the one down the right hand side cushion. That option now not available. May have to consider taking the ball to the corner instead. I mean, that's very good cueing. Made that look really easy. It was anything but. He's looking a little bit annoyed with himself despite the quality of that pot, because he's now got a slight problem. His options here are to either roll this one in and make sure of the pot and know that he's going to have a more difficult black, or try and screw back slightly, which will make the black easier but will make the red missable. Slight look of annoyance on his face, and I don't blame him. He played so well throughout that visit. If that red had just dropped, he was in good position on the black. Second chance though for Dave Beaumont. Best of 9 this World Championship final, so first man to 5 will be lifting the trophy. Best of 9, a comparatively short race at this distance. Both of these two players are pretty proficient break builders and will likely be expecting to make a number of first visit clearances in this match, so don't imagine the contest should take too long. They've each missed one pot in this match, but you see that they've missed have been pretty difficult ones. They've both played a lot of good shots in between that. That's a good positional shot. He's got a nice angle to pop this yellow to the bottom left and screw across the face of the black into the same pocket. finished up a little bit closer to the side cushion than would be absolutely ideal, but nothing of course to do with the white, just needs to concentrate on potting the black. Well, be annoyed with that. Just slightly overdid the previous shot really. The only reason that black was even missable was because he was close to the side cushion. Didn't really see that miss coming though, the way he'd played so far. There's a real let-off for Aslam. You can tell he plays a bit of 9-ball because that was a real 9-ball shot to play off those two cushions. A lot of players would just have played off the bottom cushion. So, no mistake this time. Needed 2 chances, but it's Aslam Abubaker who gets the first frame on the board. He now leads by 1 frame to 0.
Yellow ball, 2 flight. Frame 2, Aslam to break, leading 1 frame to 0. Time running.
So, Aslam to break off in frame number 2. Got 6 world titles between them already. 3 apiece. They've had a clean sweep of this event since 2013. Including having played each other in the 2016, 17 and 18 finals. So well accustomed to each other's games. Aslam won the first 2 of those and Dave last year's. So not really too much to choose on paper between them. Did everything but pot a ball off that break. Well, did everything but pot a ball other than the white off the break. That was obviously a bad detail as well. I'm sure everybody would have played to leave this ball down the table like this. This is by no means a certain shot. We've seen that the pockets are relatively generous coming at them from this angle, so as long as you just play it, well, I was going to say it at a fair pace. Okay, I misjudged what he was planning to do there. Playing off that red did make a lot more sense. I thought he was just leaving that one down the cushion. That was a very well thought through shot. So now all the reds nicely in the open. Black is likely going to be the most difficult ball to get on, but you should be able to take these out kind of in zones. Take the one in baulk next, the one below it after that, and then come down this end of the table. It's amazing how easy the game looks when you stay in perfect position. He's been able to just roll one ball in after another. Now roll this one down the right hand side cushion. Just needs to make sure that he leaves himself the right angle off the last ball to get back for the black. It's obviously going to be an easy pot, the last red to the bottom left hand corner pocket, but it's just a question of how you play the positional shot. You can either play for it in the centre pocket or the right hand corner. The centre would seem to be the higher percentage shot. There's a bit more margin for error for getting on it like that. Not a formality, this shot. He's going to have to inject a reasonable amount of pace into this to get the desired position. Now, Mr. Black, very similar to this in the last frame. Don't think that will put him off, but sometimes it can be a bit hard to get that thought out of your mind.
Rebel nominated. 30 seconds.
No mistake this time. Black safely deposited. Dave Beaumont levels the scores up at 1 apiece. Dave Beaumont then to get us underway in frame 3. Been impressed by his break in this match. I know he's only had 2 breaks, so not a huge sample size, but both of them have been very well controlled. Give me a little bit of work to do here. The red tied up next to the yellow on the right hand side of the table looks like it's going to be the biggest problem. It does pot to the right centre, so one option might be to drop behind it. This is a relatively adventurous shot he's looking at, playing one red off the other one. As long as he makes the pot, this will actually likely turn out pretty well, because I think the second red that he hits is probably going to open up the difficult one that I mentioned. It's definitely not a formality though to pot this. Quite a lot to do with that one, although did, as you see, offer a decent opportunity for going for the finish had it gone in. Aslan will content himself with rolling this yellow over the bottom left hand or the top left hand corner pocket as we look at it. Not really seen a great deal of tactical play so far in this match. Not sure whether or not we will do in this frame. Dave could elect to cover the top left hand corner pocket with the red, or he could elect to clear the pocket out, go for the more attacking path. It's not quite what he wanted. It's alright, the ball going in, but he really needs to move that yellow out of the way, because I don't think that red quite goes past it. I thought he might play the shot with a bit more pace and try and clear that whole area out. He thought maybe he could just clip the yellow out of the way. So the red didn't go into the top left hand corner pocket, so deciding instead to try and promote it towards the top right. It's not quite come off as played. So brief tactical exchange seems likely to follow, although there's still an attacking option for Dave if he wants to go for it. He could put this red to the bottom right hand corner and screw back into bulk for the one at that end. And that is what he tried to do. Pretty good opportunity now for Aslan. The only difficult yellow is the one tied up on the right, but he's actually got pretty much the perfect angle to drop behind it now if he wants to. Went with the other alternative, which was moving it out. A bit more danger in that shot, as has been proved by the fact that he's ended up covering the pocket with his opponent's ball. Somewhat unexpected miss that, based on what we've seen so far. He hasn't really looked like missing that kind of mid-distance shot. Really too much Dave can do bar try and get this red into a possible position. It's not like it can be actually potted from there. Easy enough to get the red out, but it's going to leave inevitably a shot at these two yellows when he does this. So still all about the yellow tied up at the bottom of the table. Not a terrible outcome, but just left that ball a bit short. Just trying to bounce the yellow on and off the cushion and get the white in behind it. Dave's got a clear shot at the red to the right of the black. The only slight reservation is that he doesn't really want to move it because it's one of the things that's blocking the other balls that are down there.
50 seconds.
No choice but to play that one, deliberately keeping things pretty tight. Good to watch both of these players. They both like to get on with the game. Both players taking on their shots pretty quickly and generally going for fairly positive options. So, 2 easy reds and 1 more difficult one. The only reason that one's tied up is because Dave put it there, although with good enough reason at the time. You would think just breaking out the one that's next to the black is probably the percentage option here, just try and get it into a possible position, play a kind of containing safety shot with it.
30 seconds.
You can go for the plant, of course, bottom right, but you wonder quite where he goes after that.
Foul. Too easy.
See what he was thinking. I'm not sure if that was the best option. It's given Aslam a chance to get the yellow out. The reason I was advocating breaking out the red that was near the black was because at the time there was a yellow safe down the bottom right. That isn't the case anymore, so Dave's going to have to be a bit cagier about this now. So what does he fancy here? He could play the ultra attacking shot and play the red very thin, try and cannon into the other one. Does feel a pretty low percentage shot though. I think you'd have to play it with side as well to make the right angle. Well, that's what he's played. Oh, he's played that really well. Not surprised he went for that. There was something kind of quite appealing about that shot. There was a close to natural angle into the cluster, so it did make sense to go for it, but he couldn't have asked for a better result. Played it really well. So all about just getting good position on the black now. And that's a good shot. In the first frame he slightly overdid a positional shot onto the black, which is what cost him the frame. This time he couldn't have put it better with his hand. So after a bit of a tactical exchange, it's Dave Beaumont that gets in for the clearance. It's him that now leads by 2 frames to 1. So it's Aslam Abubaker to break off in frame 4, currently behind by the odd frame. Not a bad break, and ball scattered far and wide, but nothing down. Dave just looking at whether this red will go up into the far corner. Looks very tight from there. May just about be able to squeeze it past the yellow. Well, just flicking the yellow, but going in okay. Another fairly promising position, this. A little bit to do on the bottom left eventually, but ball's at the top of the table. Ooh, dear, that's gone a bit astray. Tried to pot the red ball, ended up potting the yellow. Important opportunity this for Aslam. Doesn't want to slip 2 frames behind. Bit of a bonus being gifted the extra visit here. Looking to pot that ball cleanly, but not terrible to have left it over the pocket. That is a very good shot. To me it seems a very good shot. It seems to be a very good shot that's disappointed Aslam slightly. Perhaps his annoyance stems more from the fact he's going to need the spider to play this. I mean, if you're being an absolute perfectionist, it's not ideal in the sense that the position's pretty difficult off this, but really from where he was to get that ball nicely into play. Bad. Would have liked to have dropped on the yellow above the black. He's come a little bit far for that. Still options at the top of the table though. Just going to need one good shot here. This is a tricky little one. You can put this ball into the centre, but this is not the most natural positional shot by any means. Did well to force that through. The problem there was the balls were very close together. It was hard to judge and to get the necessary topspin on, but really he's done extremely well. This is going to be a good clearance if he takes these last 2 balls. That was a better shot than it looked as well. It was quite tough to hold for the black, which managed to nip into the cue ball, stopped it travelling too far. Just slightly worried about the yellow nearest his arm, but actually he's got a reasonable amount of space. Oh, what an extraordinary thing to happen. What a cruel game at times. Did all the hard work there. I think if he looks back at this, he'll wish he'd just got the rest out to play that shot. There was no need. Going off there was almost extraordinary. The only reason it happened, I think he was just stretching it a little bit too far for that. Ended up just sort of jabbing at the ball a bit. got a slightly strange reaction. It's a kind of shot when you look at that, you're never in a million years thinking you're going off in that corner pocket. Just caught that one all wrong. How painful. Played so well up until that point. It should have been 2-all and now it's 3-1. When you're playing a best of 5, that's a best of 9, first to 5, that's a pretty costly error. The difference between 3-1 and 2-all is very big in the context of this game. Still, he's a 3 times world champion. He's got to put the disappointment of that shot out of his mind, get back on with the job. Dave Beaumont's had 2 very good breaks so far. I hope I don't jinx him in saying that.
3 frames to 1. Time running. 30 seconds. Red ball in flank. Open table.
Well, it's not a great break in the sense that he didn't pot anything. It's actually a pretty well hit break again. He didn't do anything dramatically different from the previous 2. It's only the fact the ball didn't go down that was the big difference. This is a frame that Aslam really needs to win. The difference between 4-1 and 3-2 really is big. Compounded by the fact that he'll no doubt be thinking to himself that he should have won the previous frame. Been a good standard so far in this match. It's just been the odd mistake here and there that's separating the players at the moment. Trusting to act slightly with how that position turned out. That's pretty much as bad as it could have been from where he was. Hit the cushion, yes, he has just about. A nervous moment for a second where he thought that wasn't going to get there. So this frame very much still in the balance. Both sets of balls pretty open. If Dave had an easy starting red, you'd fancy him to have a go at these, but I don't think there's anywhere really for him to get started with.
The 80 seconds.
Good pot to the middle. Doesn't really want to knock the black where he has. At least from his perspective, he's knocked it past that yellow, so the yellow does still go to the middle pocket. Looking to play this yellow off the cushion and off the red. So he's still thinking clearly, despite the disappointment of the last frame. Would have liked the yellow to have dropped, of course, but having it over the pocket's no bad thing. Good opening pot from Dave. Still got quite a lot to do here though. If the red that's closest to the baulk cushion goes past the yellow, this will actually be quite a good opportunity. So, where's that yellow going to finish up? Well, not great, not terrible. Scope, I think, to bump that red back out from that position if it doesn't pot. That's what it's done. So this is all looking pretty good now. The black on the left hand side cushion is going to be fairly tricky however he gets about this. The only really easy option is going to be to try and just drop the cue ball somewhere over to the left hand side and take it up the cushion. A bit more action on that maybe than he was expecting. Giving the black some serious scrutiny now. Very surprised because that's where the difficulty is going to come. Well, this is not going to be the easiest finish. I have to smash this red into the bottom right hand corner pocket and then play the white all the way around the table. Pretty high tariff shot, this one. He's almost got an angle, as it happens, to cannon into the black off three cushions, but don't know whether he'll be thinking that. Well, I mean, he's disappointed, of course, but that was a pretty tricky shot. So Aslam pretty quick to the table. I think he likes the look of what he sees. Still going to have the same issue with the black. He's not going to be able to get perfectly on it, I don't think. You look at whether if you were right behind it you could drop it into the middle. Often the answer when the ball's in that kind of position is yes, but you really have got to be right behind it. Well, right smile, I don't think he can quite believe he's missed that. All his focus there was on getting the white into the perfect position. So, unexpected second chance for Dave. Not the easiest positional shot, but it's easier than the last one. And he's hit that well. This is actually a nice angle on this ball. Also, he's got the luxury of knowing that in or over, he'll obviously be very keen to pot this, but as long as he just plays it dead weight, even if it was to stay over, it wouldn't really be too much of a problem. I don't think he wants to hit this too firmly. Absolutely perfect, strikes it into the pocket. So, the tail of the tape says that Aslan's had a couple of good opportunities that he's just let slide in the last couple of frames. Played some good stuff, and there really hasn't been that much to choose between the players, but it's basically been those two mistakes that have been costly. The result of which is that Dave Beaumont currently leads by 4 frames to 1.
Seconds. Work it out, come on. Work it out. Break 6. Red Bull's in 5. Break. Trailing 4 frames to 1. Time running.
Aslam Abubaker to break off in frame 6, trailing by 4 frames to 1 in this best of 9 final. So, as we were, black ball potted, all bets are off and we'll start again. Referee George Bradbury comes round to rack up the balls. I said at the beginning that best of 9 felt like quite a short format with 2 players of this quality, and I think Aslan will be feeling that here. Really done a great deal wrong. It's just 2 mistakes in the last couple of frames have cost him. It's the difference between him possibly even being ahead and actually being 3 frames behind. Pretty simple position. Aslam's got to win all 4 if he's going to lift this title. Dave just needs to win one of them. Dave's played some good stuff in this match. He's good value for this lead, but at the same time, Aslam's actually played pretty well as well. There's really not been that much to choose between them. Good positional shot there, bringing the white twice across the table back into open play. Nice position to be in this, knowing that if you win this frame you're the world champion, but even if you don't somehow, you've still got a couple more opportunities. A couple more opportunities minimum. Well, that's not the perfect positional shot. He's played some very good position in this match, but that one I think he'd like to have back again. Not even that easy to play a containing shot from here because the yellows are spread fairly widely around the table. Every chance of leaving something on here. You could just see the thinnest edge of that ball, which was all he was able to hit. So, having made a couple of good clearances and fallen at the final hurdle, it's his last chance saloon for Aslam. Really got to make this one count. Still looking pretty assured, he's still cueing nicely through the ball. High quality final, this one. Now, is that Callum with the red spoilt position? Just looking at whether he can get to this yellow below the black. Feels he can just. He's just able to. That was a millimetre away from not being possible. Back in decent position again now. Needs to make sure he gets the white out somewhere towards the centre of the table for the last yellow. So, having been denied at the final hurdle in the last two frames, a straightforward black for Aslam. No mistake this time. Pegs one back. Score is now Dave Beaumont 4, Aslam Abubaker 2.
7 lead to break, leading 4 frames to 2. Time running.
Dave Beaumont then to break off in frame 7. Did have an opportunity in the last frame to seal the match, but no great drama given he's still got a commanding lead in this match. Another decent break as well. Gotta like the position of these yellow balls. Well, the fact is, it turns out he likes the position of the red balls. The things that made me think he wouldn't be so keen on the reds. There's one tied up on the right hand side cushion, and also the black is a bit clustered around those yellows. Well, that's kind of okay. I think he can, although it's slightly awkward, I think he can actually cue between the black and the yellow, so he can kind of get to the white. You imagine his choice is going to be to clip the ball into the middle. Oh, that's most unfortunate. There were a few things that could go wrong with that shot. You could imagine him not ending up with perfect position afterwards, but you couldn't really see that he was likely to go in off there. It's always theoretically possible, but it wasn't a serious risk. So, chance for Aslam, although under a fair amount of pressure at the moment, knows that any mistake in this match could easily be his last. Still playing at a decent pace. He's not. Some people, when they're in high pressure situations, slow down, but I'm not seeing any of that at the moment. Without wanting to jinx it, this looks like it should be fairly plain sailing from here. Got these two balls in the middle of the table, then should be able to leave himself a nice angle to get down for the one on the bottom cushion. Trifle straight on this, but I think he can just about force the cue ball through it. Oh, he's overcooked that. He's lucky you can still see the edge of that, almost snooking himself. So he just wants to set this up, just gently skim off the right hand side of this yellow. Now just the simple stuff to do. So, not finished with this match yet. He was 4-1 behind. If this black goes down, it'll only be 4-3 behind. And that's what's happened. Dave Beaumont was 3 ahead. He's now 1 ahead. He leads Aslam Abubaker by 4 frames to 3.
seconds. Aslan to break. Trailing 4 frames to 3. Time running.
So Aslan Abubaker breaks us off in frame 8. He's struggling a bit with his break in this match. Went in off the first break. Since then has struggled to pot a ball. Ball's fairly well spread, although a couple of issues. One of which I was about to highlight is the fact that that yellow was touching the black, although Dave's got after that straight away. I think he'll probably be feeling it a bit more now. When he was 4-1 up, the match was all looking quite easy. Even the times his opponent was getting in, it wasn't looking like that was necessarily going to be final, because he got gifted a couple of frames that he wasn't expecting. Since then, Aslan's played pretty well. He's the defending champion, of course, so won't be relinquishing that crown lightly.
30 seconds.
Arguably, when you've already won the title 3 times, there's not quite so much pressure as if you're winning it for your first time, but nobody comes to a tournament like this wanting to lose, so you can be damn sure that he'll be giving it his best. Well, both of them will be giving it their best effort. Makeable shot into the right hand centre, or the bottom middle pocket as we look at it from this angle. It's not going to be that easy to get prime position off this shot. The white is naturally going to stay in the right hand side of the table as we look at it. Just to update you with progress on the other side of the arena in the senior singles final. James Feely of Scotland is currently 5 frames to 2 ahead of Videsh Sabharwal of India. So, a chance of sorts for Aslan. Just this ball tied up on the bottom cushion, currently inconveniencing him. That's actually not turned out too bad. He's freed up the yellow nearest the black and is still on the ball to the top middle pocket. going to be an easy shot, cutting that ball down the cushion. Didn't ultimately get that close to it. All the reds in potable positions though, so if Aslam does make a mistake, he knows that it could easily be punished. Well, I say that. Now one of the reds is not in a potable position, or not an easily possible position. Aslam's in pretty good shape on these yellows. It's just the difficulty of that ball near the right hand centre pocket. He has got an angle to move it here, although I'm not really sure he's going to want to risk doing that. Sensible shot, just dropping behind it. Ideally he would have been an inch or two further off the cushion just so that he could get the white back out into open play. Pot should now be no problem because it's pretty much straight on this. I'll have to leave a more difficult last shot on the final yellow. So just this one pressure yellow. If he can roll this in, should be plain sailing towards a deciding frame. This is quite missable though, this shot. Well, he played it firmer than I thought he might. I assume the black must go to the bottom left. I didn't think it did. I thought he'd just want to roll it in for the black bottom right. Oh, the black did go. Great shot. Good finish from Aslam. And a good comeback. He was 4-1 behind. Players playing the match in a good spirit, just smiling at each other. They set up this deciding frame.
The final frame, gate to break, 4 frames each. Time running.
Well, on the balance of what we've seen so far, I think it's probably fitting that this match is going to a deciding frame. Been a high quality of pool from both players. Not too much to choose between them. Well, unfortunately, the only bad break really that Dave's put in has been that one. He's broken very well in this match. So it's going to be Aslam that has the first look at these balls in this deciding frame. You always really in a deciding frame want as well, in any frame I guess you want as straightforward an opportunity as possible, but I think particularly in a deciding frame these balls just aren't really, they're not in a bad position. They're in the kind of position where you could easily be tempted into going for a clearance, but they're not an absolute formality. Feels like this could be a frame with a few twists and turns in it. Nice to see both players enjoying the match. So you've got to savour these moments when you get to major finals, and they don't get much more major than the World Championship final. Even though they've both been in this final a few times, it's still a very special feeling to get back to this point. Well, he holds up his hand in apology. That's been a pretty good nudge. He wasn't playing to nudge that yellow into play, the one that's finished near the left centre. I'll certainly be happy with the way that's turned out. Not plain sailing yet though, because a couple of these balls are slightly hampered. Don't know if he's got a clear shot for yellow to the left of the black. Don't know if it hots along the kind of line he's on now. So obviously not going to go for it yet because he wants to take the one up the top first, but we'll find out in a second what his plans are for that one. Oh, well, that's not what he wanted. he did not want that red to roll over the corner pocket. That's a bit unfortunate. That's what I mean when I say expect a few twists and turns in the deciding frame. Unfortunately, these things are never quite as simple as any of us would like. That's turned what could have been a fairly routine shot in the end. If that yellow went and that red hadn't been in the way, the match could all have been over, but now he's got to manufacture something a bit special. Oh, well, how special is that? What a tremendous shot from Aslam Abubaker. The deciding frame of a World Championship final. Pulls out a fine double. So, just this black required for Aslam to win his 4th world title. Great comeback and a great performance from Aslam Abubaker. Dave Beaumont played a major part in that final. When he was 4-1 up, it looked like he could run away with it. Didn't have so many chances in the second half of the match though. Aslam just hung on in there. Got better and better as the match progressed. And you could see what it means to him with that celebration at the end. High quality final, which I very much enjoyed, and I hope you did too. It's a shame, as always, that there has to be a loser. Both players made a big contribution to this year's tournament. Good performance from both of them, but it's Aslam Abubaker who takes it and is crowned the 2019 World Champion. Many congratulations to him. Thank you very much for your company in this match. We'll be back in a little while with coverage of the ladies' World Team Final. In the meantime, action's still underway on the other side of the arena, where James Feely leads Vinesh Sabharwal by 6 frames to 2. We'll be bringing you coverage of that match until its conclusion, and then the ladies' team final will follow after that.